Hello and welcome to another test in the Retro GPU universe. In this series, I take a look at classic graphics cards from ATI, AMD, and NVIDIA. In this video, we take a look at one of ATI's most well-known graphics cards, the Radeon 9 700 Pro. The Radeon went on sale on August 19, 2002 for $399. In Europe, ATI did not officially sell its own reference version of this graphics card, as the company left retail distribution entirely to its board partners, such as Club 3D, Creative, Gigabyte, Hercules, PowerColor, and Sapphire. Nevertheless, some partner models are visually very similar to the reference design. From a technological standpoint, the Radeon was a full generation ahead of NVIDIA's GeForce 4 Ti, mainly due to its support for DirectX 9. In addition, anti-aliasing and anisotropic filtering could be used for the first time without a massive performance hit, putting ATI in a completely different league compared to NVIDIA. Image quality was also visibly superior to the competition from the green team. Heat from the GPU is dissipated by a black heatsink with a fan, while the memory chips are left without cooling. On the back of the card, an additional cooling element can be seen. Underneath it are the voltage regulators, which require passive cooling due to the heat they generate. The Radeon features a 15-pin D-sub connector, an S-video output, and one dual-link DVI-I port. Inside the case, the card only occupies a single slot. Power is supplied via an additional floppy power connector. The Radeon is 175 mm long, weighs 213 grams, and is approximately 60 to 62 decibels loud under full load. For a better comparison, I've included GPU-Z screenshots of the Radeon 9 700 Pro and a GeForce 4 Ti 4600. Compared to its predecessor, the Radeon 8 500, ATI doubled the number of render pipelines. To make sure this massive raw performance wouldn't go to waste, ATI also upgraded the memory interface, implementing a 256-bit wide DDR memory bus. Matrox had already used a 256-bit memory interface with the Parhelia, but ATI used it to achieve much higher gaming performance. ATI equipped the card with 128 megabytes of DDR memory with an access time of 2.86 nanoseconds. The memory chips are arranged in pairs on both the front and the back of the PCB. The number of vertex shaders was increased from 1 to 4, which is twice as many as on the competing NVIDIA cards at the time. What stands out here is that the GeForce can only process 1.2 gigapixels per second, which is less than half of what the Radeon can handle, while the texture fill rate of 2.4 gigatexels per second is almost identical. What is the reason for this? The TI 4600 only has 4 render output pipelines, but unlike the Radeon, it features 2 texture mapping units per pipeline, allowing it to process twice as many textures per pass. In this case, the main difference comes down to GPU clock speed. The pixel fill rate of 2.6 gigapixels per second is influenced by both the number of pixel shaders and the GPU clock frequency, which explains why ATI is able to deliver more than twice the performance. As mentioned earlier, the 9 700 Pro uses a 256-bit memory interface, while the GeForce has to make do with just 128-bit. As a result, memory bandwidth reaches 19.84 gigabytes per second, almost twice that of the GeForce. In addition, the NVIDIA card is limited to DirectX 8.1 features, while the Radeon already offers full DirectX 9 support. The 9 700 Pro also introduced Shader Model 2.0, whereas NVIDIA continued to rely on version 1.4. To put it simply, the Radeon 9 700 Pro completely outclassed the GeForce 4 Ti 4600. And then came the Radeon 9 800 XT, which increased the performance gap even further. As a result, NVIDIA was clearly behind for almost 2 years, a situation that only changed with the release of the GeForce 6 series. When it came to the retail packaging design, ATI closely followed the previous Radeon 8000 and 7000 series. Let's take a look at the synthetic benchmarks. First one is 3D Mark 99. This DirectX 6 benchmark was released on October 26, 1998. The graphics tests use an early version of Remedy Entertainment's MaxFX engine, which was later used in the game Max Payne. Number 2 is 3D Mark 2000, released on December 6, 1999. This uses key features from DirectX 7 such as hardware-accelerated Tandel. It supports Windows 95, 98, 98 SE, and 2000, but also runs on Windows XP. Number 3 is 3D Mark 2001 SE, which was released on February 12, 2002. This benchmark is still very popular today. 3D Mark 2001 SE is the last version of 3D Mark that uses the MaxFX engine. Next one is 3D Mark 2003, released on February 11, 2003. It is the first version that supports Microsoft DirectX 9.0 and introduces several new features. The benchmark covers 4 game tests, 2 CPU tests, and 4 feature tests. The last benchmark is also still very popular, Aquamark 3. It saw the light of day on September 15, 2003 and was developed by Massive Development. The focus is on realistic game scenes rather than synthetic effects. Finally, I have 2 benchmarks that specifically measure the architecture and performance limits of GPUs. Fill Rate Benchmark is a small freeware program that measures various fill rate scenarios for a graphics card. For example, pixel and texel throughput, overdraw, and Z-buffer influence. And last but not least, Archmark. It is similar to Fill Rate Benchmark, but even more specialized in architectural limitations and pixel pipelines of graphics cards. Enough with the synthetic stuff. Let's get to the gaming benchmarks. The games are tested with an ASRock Core2Dual-SATA2, an Intel Core 2 Duo E7600 at 3067 MHz, 2048 MB DDR2 RAM, a Creative Sound Blaster Live, and Windows XP Service Pack 2. The first game is Max Payne, released on July 25, 2001.
Standby 1010, investigated reported disturbance at Acer Plaza.
10-4 dispatcher, verify address.
It's Acer Plaza, repeat, Acer Plaza.
Shots fired on the rooftop. An assault in progress at Acer Plaza. Repeat, an assault in progress.
At the lowest graphics settings, the Radeon 9700 Pro has absolutely no trouble, delivering at least 255 FPS, while video memory usage stays very low at just 15 megabytes.
It's a war zone down here. 1085 dispatcher, need additional units. Additional units now. Officer in danger. Officer in danger.
10-5, please repeat, 10-5, all units, emergency. Officer in danger, Acer Plaza, repeat, Acer Plaza, all units.
They were all dead. The final gunshot was an exclamation mark to everything that had led to this point. I released my finger from the trigger, and then it was over.
Standby 1010, investigated reported disturbance at Acer Plaza.
10-4 dispatcher, verify address.
It's Acer Plaza, repeat, Acer Plaza.
Shots fired on the rooftop. An assault in progress at Acer Plaza. Repeat, an assault in progress.
Even at maximum settings, the card doesn't come close to its limits. Frame rates never drop below 142 FPS, and video memory usage increases to 50 megabytes.
It's a war zone down here. 1085 dispatcher, need additional units. Additional units now. Officer in danger. Officer in danger.
10-5, please repeat, 10-5, all units, emergency. Officer in danger, Acer Plaza, repeat, Acer Plaza, all units.
They were all dead. The final gunshot was an exclamation mark to everything that had led to this point. I released my finger from the trigger, and then it was over.
1010, investigated reported disturbance at Acer Plaza.
10-4 dispatcher, verify address.
It's Acer Plaza, repeat, Acer Plaza.
Shots fired on the rooftop. An assault in progress at Acer Plaza. Repeat, an assault in progress.
With anti-aliasing and anisotropic filtering active, the Radeon still runs at a minimum of 56 FPS, and memory usage doesn't go above 50 megabytes.
It's a war zone down here. 1085 dispatcher, need additional units. Additional units now. Officer in danger. Officer in danger.
10-5, please repeat, 10-5, all units, emergency. Officer in danger, Acer Plaza, repeat, Acer Plaza, all units.
They were all dead. The final gunshot was an exclamation mark to everything that had led to this point. I released my finger from the trigger, and then it was over.
Stand by, 1010, investigated reported disturbance at Acer Plaza.
10-4 dispatcher, verify address.
It's Acer Plaza, repeat, Acer Plaza.
Shots fired on the rooftop. An assault in progress at Acer Plaza. Repeat, an assault in progress. It's a war zone down here. 1085 dispatcher, need additional units. Additional units now. Officer in danger. Officer in danger.
10-5, please repeat, 10-5, all units, emergency. Officer in danger, Acer Plaza, repeat, Acer Plaza, all units.
They were all dead. The final gunshot was an exclamation mark to everything that had led to this point. I released my finger from the trigger, and then it was over.
Next up is Battlefield 1942, which was released on September 10, 2002. At minimum graphics settings, the Radeon renders at least 155 FPS and using 28 megabytes of video memory. At maximum detail, video memory usage rises to 81 megabytes and the minimum frame rate drops to 95 FPS. Even with anti-aliasing and anisotropic filtering active, the Radeon 9700 Pro keeps 37 FPS or more, with memory usage hitting 79 megabytes. Finally, let's take a look at Max Payne 2, released just 2 years after the original. Even here, the Radeon has no problems at minimum settings, delivering at least 180 FPS with a video memory usage of up to 33 megabytes.
Waiting in the van. The hardware's been bagged. As soon as the guys get...
The room looked like gun storage, but it had been cleaned out.
Gas or poison or something.
Hey!
At maximum details, the 9700 Pro still isn't really challenged, maintaining a minimum of 128 FPS while using 89 megabytes of video memory.
Waiting in the van. The hardware's been bagged. As soon as the guys get Jackie...
The room looked like gun storage, but it had been cleaned out.
Anti-aliasing and anisotropic filtering are handled without issue as well. With a minimum of 74 FPS, Max Payne 2 remains very playable, and video memory usage comes in at 87 megabytes.
The hardware's been bagged. As soon as the guys get... Die! Oh!
The room looked like gun storage, but it had been cleaned out.
Gas or poison or something.
Hey! Kaufman's waiting in the van. The hardware's been bagged. As soon as the guys get Jackie...
The room looked like gun storage, but it had been cleaned out.